guys, and welcome to my second Ice Age review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, the sequel to the 2002 film Ice Age. This film was released in 2006, so 10 years ago now. Wow. Stars all the same people from the first one, plus some new characters. So, Ice Age 2, let's get started. So, the plot of Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, is that the Ice Age is coming to an end. There is a big flood that is approaching, and these vultures warn Manny, Sid, Diego, and the rest of the herd. The herd has expanded now, so they warn all of the animals to get to this boat on the other side of the village, onto the other side of the land, so they can be saved from the flood. Along the way, there's also this other subplot of Manny possibly being the last of the mammoths. There's a possibility, he is told there's a possibility that his species, the mammoths, may be extinct until he meets the female mammoth known as Ellie, who we find out has been raised by some possums. So she's quite a deluded person, she's quite confused, she thinks she's a possum, and Manny is desperately trying to convince her she is a mammoth, whilst also he is falling in love with her, and there's some drama between them, and it pretty much goes on from there really, and Scrat is doing his usual stuff, trying to grab the acorn again. So, Ice Age 2, The Meltdown. It's good. It's good, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the first one, which is a slight shame, but I still think, for what it's worth, Ice Age 2 has its entertaining moments. I quite like the story. It's not as deep as the first one, but it's still simple enough, and definitely have fun with it, and there's definitely moments of escalation in the story, particularly with Manny's emotional storyline, because he lost his family, and they're slowly drawing him to have a new family, obviously when he meets Ellie, and I like that storyline. I also like Sid and Diego in this film. They're very good. They each get a nice bit of character development. Diego more than Sid. I think when Sid encourages Diego to face his fear to become a swimmer, and that's a very interesting story. Sid also feels he is mistreated by the gang, and he demands to be shown respect. This is dealt with in a completely different way with the tribe of mini-sloths that capture him and, worship him as this fire king, as they so call it. But he's obviously deceived and nearly killed or burnt to death. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting comedy here. Some of it, they've gone a bit sillier with the comedy here. I think it's a bit more slapstick and childish with the comedy, but this film is for kids, so they're gonna enjoy it. I always like the comedy. There's always stuff to like, and I always laugh at some of the jokes. They are funny. Some of them are a bit cringy now, but I mean, I'm older now. I'm 10 years older than I was when I first saw this, so yeah. The new characters. It's interesting to see that there's a lot more sort of background characters, because I feel with the first Ice Age film, there was only a few other animals like the rhinos, and of course there was other parts of the herd, but now you see the herd has expanded, and I like that. Sorry again for the interruptions. Yes, we also have Crash and Eddie, who are these two new possums who are Ellie's brothers, or adopted brothers. They're a nice comedy pair. They have some nice laughs. Voiced by Sean William Scott, who you may know from American Pie. I'll have to review those films one day. He's good. And Josh Peck from Drake and Josh. They voiced the possums, not just in this film, in the other films from now on. They're cool, they're funny. They add a nice bit of, comic relief. Sorry, but most importantly, we have Ellie, voiced by Queen Latifah, who's the female mammoth, whose delusion definitely proves to be quite a funny plot. fact that she thinks she's a possum is quite funny. That provides a lot of the comedy, especially when they're trying to escape for the flood and then they're hiding from the vultures and Ellie is trying to hide behind the bush, and that's quite funny. Yeah, there's a lot of laughs. I feel like they've gone more for the comedy here. Slight shame. It's a slight shame. It's more of a problem in the later films. But even so, again, the Ice Age movies have another problem. This movie doesn't have a main antagonist. The first movie does, but it doesn't utilise it very well. But at least you can say with the first movie there is an antagonist. With this, you don't really know, because you have these two sort of monsters, like sea monsters. Like, they pop up occasionally, like sort of at one point during the beginning, and then towards the climax. The climax is bloody great, by the way. I really like the climax when Ellie's trapped in the cave and Manny has to save her. The music just blares as well. Did I mention the soundtrack? The soundtrack by John Powell is amazing. He does a great job with these films. He didn't compose the score for the first one, as I remember correctly, but the score here is wonderful, particularly when the mammoths come back at the end. You know, that music is fantastic. I think I might have used it in this review. I'm not sure. At the time I'm recording this, I wouldn't know, but yeah, that's fantastic. And you know, I like Ellie's backstory. There's a nice emotional touch to the film. That's really the only time when the film reaches that poignancy that the first one had. Ellie's backstory is very sweet. You know, it's not much, but it's a little flash, you know, to show you just a little insight to sort of, you know, when she was lost and the possums found her, and you know, a particularly funny scene when Manny's trying to basically try it on with Ellie, which is quite funny. But you've also got, you know, as well as all of the comedy and stuff, you've got the adventure feel, which I've watched a review recently of Ice Age 5, and the guy said that each of the films has tried to capture the adventure feel, and that's definitely true. I think the first one had its adventure feel, but it had its heart in the right place. This has a heart, but it's not really... They don't show it as much. This does have a heart, but the adventure feel definitely is there because they're trying to evade the flood, and I think the third one is where you feel the adventure aspect quite a lot, but I'll get to that in the next review. But yeah, this film is exciting as well. Like, you have those sort of action scenes with the monsters. They're good. Those action chase scenes. There's some random bits of humour as well, like the food glorious food section is quite random. I didn't quite understand that. That was quite filler. But also you've got the scene with the mini sloths, which is quite strange. The Fire King section. But as I said, the climax is great. I like all the cast; they're fantastic again. Romano, John Leguizamo, Denis, Leary, Queen Latifah. And all the new cast blend really well together. I think it's great. It's just missing that big emotional heart that the first one had. But, you know, this is going to be a problem that affects the rest of the films as well. But this film, I think, is good. It does get kind of disregarded in terms of the rest of the series, but to an extent it's kind of filler. But I think it's good. It's good. I think the animation has improved, I will say that much. The animation has improved. The opening scene is quite funny with Scrat. That's always good. The film's an hour and a half long, and the pace is fine. It doesn't sag for me. It doesn't feel too short or too long. It works perfectly fine. There's enough in there for kids to go, yeah, I enjoyed it. There's enough for grown-ups in there to go, yeah, it was good. It was fun. You know, I think it's a fun sequel. I mean, its heart is in the right place, but you just don't see the heart as much. But the Manny and Ellie relationship is really the heart of the film, and, you know, Manny's story really is the heart of the series, really. Because it's about Manny, you know, sort of rekindling a family. He's trying to, you know, he gets a new family as well. I mean, the fact that the baby was in the first one was like was the metaphor for, you know, a long-lost child that he was craving, which was very sweet. This, you know, he's finally found somebody who he can genuinely relate to. Because you feel sorry for Manny, he's quite a loner. He's probably the standout character of the series. He's not the most comedic character. He doesn't get the most laughs, but he's the most grounded character. He's the main character, and you feel his struggle, his emotional struggle, and I like that. Also, there's a fun scene when they think that there's another mammoth. Manny said, Diego, they're running through the forest, and then they come across this, like, horse creature, this llama kind of creature, and he's like, sorry, my stomach hates me. That's a very good line. That was very funny. Yeah, and it's very sweet. It's very sweet. It's done really well. I also love the scene on top of the kind of the rocks, the triangular rocks that are spinning round and round. That's rather intense, and that's when they're having the big sort of argument on top of these rocks. You know, that's very entertaining. Yeah, and the last scene of the film is very funny. When Scrat goes to heaven, but is then revived. That's very funny. So, yeah, overall, Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, is a good sequel. It's fun. Also, Scrap the Piranhas. Nice. Love that. I love that. That's very good. All the Scrat scenes in this film are great. They've never lost that. They haven't lost the charm. They haven't found a way to make it original. But overall, Ice Age 2 is a good sequel. It's nothing spectacular, but it'll keep you entertained for an hour and a half. So, overall, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. So, yeah, 7 out of 10, that's it for me. Tune in next time when I review Ice Age 3, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Until then, thank you all for watching, guys, and as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See ya.